Meta has agreed to pay up to $17 billion and make sweeping changes to Instagram and Facebook after settling a landmark lawsuit brought by dozens of state attorneys general over the company's treatment of children and teens. Is this the beginning of a social media reformation? I'm Kelly Newcomb with Brave Parenting, and this is a Brave Briefing, a technology and cultural update for Christian parents. This landmark lawsuit alleged that Meta intentionally designed addictive-like features that led to compulsive use among young people, exposed children to serious mental health harms, illegally collected data from children under 13, and misled families and the public about the safety of its platforms. Meta continues to deny this. But here's the reality. Meta settled after the trial had already begun. They settled while that trial was ongoing. Like the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, had already taken the stand, and Mark Zuckerberg was expected to still testify when they announced the settlement. The 4 states whose claims were being tried, California, Colorado, Kentucky, and New Jersey, were reportedly seeking nearly $200 billion in civil penalties. Now, just for reference, Meta's 2025 revenue was $201 billion. Now, we know a settlement isn't an admission of guilt, but the fact remains, Meta opted to pay billions of dollars, accept outside auditing to ensure compliance, and redesign the teen experience rather than let the trial continue, which says something. So now what will change? Well, for users under 18, so that's users 13 to 17 years old, Meta will institute a combined 2-hour daily limit between Facebook and Instagram. Teens will receive mandatory interruptions after 15 minutes of continued use, and then again at 60 and 90 minutes. Teen accounts will also be prohibited from using either platform between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., and notifications will stop during the school day, approximately 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also, visible like counts will be removed for teens. Cosmetic procedure filters are going to be prohibited. Parents are going to be given stronger supervision tools, including algorithmic feed and autoplay features. And Meta must strengthen its age verification to prevent children under 13 from being on its platforms and submit to independent audits of their compliance. Well, those are significant steps toward a reformation. For years, parents have been told that social media is necessary for teens and that the benefits of online connection outweigh the risks, of which there were many. We were told that our concerns about endless scrolling, social comparison, addictive design features, and excessive screen time were hyperbolic, and that parents just needed to teach their teens how to use it responsibly. And now some of those very features are being restricted under the pressure from a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit. Here's the deal. Parents still matter in this equation. The 2-hour limit and overnight block will be the default setting that a teenager cannot remove, but a parent can. And that's a problem. The safeguard then is only as strong as the parent. A parent who doesn't want an argument at midnight can remove the restriction. A parent who fears their child may harm themselves if they cannot stay connected to friends for longer than 2 hours can cave under the pressure and allow more time, effectively removing the safeguard. And sadly, the children who need these restrictions most are often those whose parents are the least willing to enforce them. You see, technology companies can create safer defaults, but parents still need to parent. The platform is only part of the problem. Parents must be willing to maintain stricter boundaries than Meta's, because a midnight cutoff doesn't mean that Instagram is healthy until 11:59 p.m. And parents still need to limit their own use of Facebook and Instagram because, as we know, they are just as addictive for adults as they are for teens. But we as adults will never see new default settings because we're supposed to already have our self-control locked in. Well, here is the arc of the story, the cliffhanger, if you will. Meta is no fool. They recognize that restricting Facebook and Instagram still leaves the addictive players, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, untouched. So Meta agreed to $12 billion regardless to the states, and that remaining $5 billion is contingent upon TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube agreeing to implement comparable reforms. Well, here's the best part. If those other platforms come on board, the proposed daily limits actually become even stronger, 1 hour a day and a longer overnight block. Well, should we call this the beginning of a reformation? A redesigned platform with safer defaults can stop your child from endless scrolling. And while that is a reform we can celebrate, the reality is that safer defaults don't make for safe platforms. The reformation really begins when everyone in the church, every believer, whether you're in your 20s, your 40s, or your 70s, not just the teens, when all of us as believers recognize that we shouldn't want to scroll endlessly in the first place. Do not love the world or anything in the world. Do not conform to the patterns of this world. What good work has God prepared for us to walk in that has been now set aside for mindless hours on social media? When we discover that answer, we can get back to the business of reformation. And a reformation can certainly begin, but it begins with us as Christians, not with Meta. All right, friends, that's it for this briefing. Thanks so much for listening. Share this with a friend, and until next time, go and be brave.